Notes, Word. Just gonna bring something up here. Coming up, coming up. Yeah, we need to come up with some game mechanics now. And I want to release this before First of July. We want to do polishing from 1st of June. And we're at 11th April. Today. So we are here. So we have 1, 2. Actually, let me open up sheets. Okay, so we have a game 1 timeline. Let's check like week by week and what we need to do by then. So this week ends on, if it's 11th, 12th, so 14th April would be the Sunday, right? Oh yeah, we have it here, 14th. And then the next one would be 21st. And here we need to be done. Meaning that by, if we work backwards, this is like 1st July, done. Polish, we probably need like 3 or 4 polish weeks. What if we make it a third of the timeline? So 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, this would be a third of the timeline actually. And here we do like implementation. And design. Is that a reasonable split? Development time plan. I'm just gonna check if the YouTube stream is up. Yeah. Cool. Making time planning. Creating the timeline for game 1. Game concept, vision, and mission statement. This looks like a good plan.
Jag går ut från plats.
Okay. Yeah, what if we take each of these things and add it to the timeline? These two feel a bit the same to me. But there are some good things here. That we can take, like finding the game concept, outlining the scope project, establish a timeline. Yeah, we have that. Or actually, that's what we're working on now. Step 1. So what did they call this? Planning. Let's call it planning then. That's perhaps what we want to do for the rest of the week and next week. Planning. Pre-implementation, flesh out the design. Yeah. Create the storyline. Design characters. I don't know if that's needed. Map out game mechanics though. So we can do some re-implementation here. Is that 2 weeks though? Maybe. There will be a lot of planning. But I think I have a better sense now for what's possible to do and like how hard things are to do after some playing around in Godot. Yeah, and this is the actual work. The actual work. I'll call it implementation. We might want like 3 weeks of implementation. And then polishing. Polish. This feels like a good plan. Much better than just 1st of July. Now there's actually something more tangible to try to follow. Launch, pre-launch, launch plan. Let's call it pre-launch. No. How many weeks did we say? 3 of polish, then pre-launch. I don't think I need that long. Marketing material, sure. Launch plans, setting up distribution channels. Sure, it's gonna be super important. So let's try to do it well and learn some stuff from it. Launch. Right, it doesn't end at the launch actually. So we have a, let's call it buffer, a week of buffer. Then we do launch, but then On the 7th, there's going to be some work happening after here. For let's say 1, 2, 3 weeks of post-launch. Post-release. And that's going to be continued distribution, marketing, and so on. Let's write them up here instead. Oops. Planning. Oops. What is it? Command Shift V. No, different color. Pre-implementation. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 groups. Program the game mechanics. Design levels. But that's what we did here, right? Design sound effects and music. User interface. Build, I guess, not design levels. That's what we did in the pre-implementation. Most things should be done in the pre-implementation, I think. Like, we should know basically what the game is. We should be able to explain it. And then it's just a matter of implementing it in the implementation phase. So we should try to create something with a small scope here, so that we can implement it in 3 weeks and then polish it well. How do you spell polish? Is this Polish or Polish that I'm writing now? Polish. So how do you spell Polish? Oh, it is the same spelling. Yeah. Identify and fix bugs. Feedback from testers. This looks really fun. I'm looking forward to go through each and every step here together with you all. Create marketing materials. What's the launch plan? Set up distribution channels. I guess that's like registering Steam and getting that approved and so on. Conducting beta testing. Really? Sure. This is really interesting. I think all of these stages are very important. What's the kind of game? Hey Wicked, what's up? I haven't really decided yet what type of game, but right now I've started building 2 different games. So one is kind of a sandbox style game inspired by like Minecraft or Valheim, where you have just like a randomly generated world and the player will do something like survival, or I was thinking maybe the player could build a fort here and there's something that the player needs to defend, and then there come like waves of attackers and you need to build up a base and defenses and stuff, and it just becomes harder and harder. Something like that. Or the other one is like a small ARPG, or we'll see. But I've set up as a target for myself to release something by 1st of July. So I'm currently in like a prototyping or just testing out stuff phase. But I think for it to be feasible to launch something by the 1st of July, I think I need to be very careful about scoping. Yeah, it's tight, right? So I need to scope the game so it's very small. Or like at least the scope of building it is small. Ideally, I want high ratio of complexity per scope. So a good example of that is Minecraft, where the scope of building that game is quite... I haven't built a game like that, so I don't know, but one person could build it, and it has caused like millions of hours of entertainment. And people have played it so many hours. So something like that, but not of that scale for my first game, but something small. So I think, yeah, that's what I'm doing now, just trying to figure out the plan. And then some fun game mechanics that can be fit within like a smaller scope. So what about you? Do you have any experience with the game development? Oh, is he? Cool. So you're also from Sweden then? Cool, cool. Where is he from? Notch, by the way. Which town? Edsbyn. Okay, cool. So yeah, I think the post-release step is gonna be very important. Like, oh wait, launch. We forgot the launch step. Promote. I guess launch slash post-release are almost the same here. Oh, okay. Nice, you're looking into game development. Go for it. I just started like taking it. I don't know. I've been thinking about it a while as well, but I just started like a few weeks ago. And it's really fun. It's surprisingly fun because I think it has a good mix of programming, which it seems like you also are interested in, and creativity. I mean, programming is creativity, but it's like you're creating this virtual world where you can kind of set the limits and rules yourself, and you have to do it with code and make it run in a in an efficient way. Otherwise, the frame rate will go down. Ah, thank you for the follow. Yeah. So have you started? Like, did you get any game engine or something like that yet? Have you started thinking about how or like with which tools? Let's actually call this launch. Godot, okay. Yeah, the language is really easy to pick up if you know Python. Yeah, I heard about Tibia. When I hear Tibia, that reminds me of RuneScape. It's like a action, or it's an RPG, right? An MMO even. Oh, and apparently some body part. Nice. So is that something like that you want to build? Look, this is what you become if you play enough Tibia. Neymar. Something similar, but with more of low poly 3D environment. That sounds really cool. Go for it. But how are you thinking of? So is it gonna be an MMO or a single player thing? Addressing bugs and issues, manage, or like build, I guess, a community. Build a game community. Nice, nice. So what's stopping you from doing it? Oh, so playing Tibia is stopping you from it. Is that your like go-to game at the moment? I can't create graphics either. You see, like this game. Ah, okay, nice. Like there are no graphics. There are just boxes so far. I don't think you need good graphics necessarily to make a game fun. I mean, this might not be how I want it to look at the end, but and there are many resources online where you can download like free graphics, like itch.io, for example. So people upload graphics that are like open sourced basically, or at least free. They're like licensed to be used for free. Have you seen these kind of sites? So you can do like free if you want. I mean, you can pay as well, of course, but and there are like I used some graphics from this one for the ARPG I tried to build for a week or so, like the first thing I tried to build, and they come with like animations and movements and stuff. Okay, nice. So shout out to Kay Lausberg who created this and put it up for free. Cake it. All right, so planning. Time to dig into the planning then. Feels good to have a plan, finally. So, define game concept. Outlining the scope, establish a timeline. So yeah, the game concept, and I guess that's gonna kind of lean in a bit into fleshing out the design and especially the mechanics. I think the mechanics might be one of the most important things in the game. Like the art, the music and everything, sure. But I think that's more of like a icing on top. Oh, you have tried Cake It. Nice. So I found a design document from the Pirate Software Game Jam 2022. And there, I think this is really neat. It's like, what's the pitch of the game? Tile-based puzzle game about reducing generally manipulating the shape of a mass of cell blocks to navigate to a goal. It's short and sweet. And then what I really like about this is the mechanics. This is what makes the game. So here, walls, stopping force, you can't move through it. Spikes, you lose cells. Holes, you fall into them. Fruit, you grow, etc. And all of these mechanics in combination kind of make the whole game. And I think you could probably, I don't know, I'm thinking out loud here, but I think you could probably break down a lot of games like this. Like, what are the core mechanics? And from them you can build up the game. So this is where it's time to, I can't rely on planning and need to start actually thinking. And it has to be mechanics that are low scope that can be done in this short timeline. So there are a few ideas, like RPG-like game. Mechanics. Randomly generated rooms to clear with increasing difficulty. I guess that's more part of the game concept, perhaps. Like how, maybe we should look at some example, like to what details should this be? Like movement, player dies if dead. Maybe this is obvious. Health pots is the only healing. Pots are refilled after every room. And I like the mechanism of having health pots, because that adds like a skill component to the game. So if you're expected, like if the game is balanced around self-healing, you need to actually time the few pots that you have. It's not only about like not taking any damage, but like when do you use it? Like how do you plan how you're using your health pots? And then I think, so the thing I had in mind for this, I can actually show you the small, very, very small thing I built so far. Bam, bada, bam, 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 bada, bam, bam. So kind of walking around here, and you have one ability so far. And there's like this very, very small space. And the character, and you see these are the cake it animations. And then there's a boss room. Yeah, we made it. So something like this. But then, I mean, this is not fun. You do it once and then it's like, okay, I did it. It's 1 minute. Like how does it become a fun game? I think that's not, it's not a trivial thing. And I think that's where the mechanics, game mechanics comes in. And yeah, so what I was saying is like the thing I thought about to make it kind of unique and potentially have quite a big replay value would be to add some kind of choices after every room. So let's say you you make it, and then you get like 2 or 3 cards, let's say, and then you have to pick one, and one could be like +1 to strength, and then like plus 10% monster health or something. And so there's like a luck element in rolling good cards. And then you could also choose to like spec your character a certain way depending on the choices you make. So you could make like, oh, I want a new ability. I don't know if that's within the scope of this small game, but or like +1 health pot or whatever. And then, yeah, right. Yeah, right. It's easy to expand on, and then you could just have a pool of cards that you kind of design, and then every time you just like randomly pull cards from the pool, and then the game world would, in a way, have some random elements to it, like color, some kind of theme, maybe. And then some different type of monsters that can spawn, like melee, ranged, etc. And then there's just like some random element deciding this in combination with the history of like the cards that the player has drawn adds onto the map. So it could be like mob density and so on. And then it just becomes harder and harder. So it should be balanced in such a way that whatever you pick here, the monsters should get a bit stronger than you every time. Otherwise, I think it's just going to be too easy after a while. So like if you have some kind of graph with monster strength and your strength, it should go like you and monsters, something like that. And then of course, if you're picking the cards in a good way and are smart about like how the cards scale and so on, you could like try to keep up with the monsters as long as you can. And then there could be some kind of high score or something. But that would require online integration, like a server or something, maybe. Yeah. So that's one idea. Random cards after every room to specialize player and mobs. Mobs catch up to player in strength. So player has to be a bit lucky with the cards and choose the cards wisely. Then the second idea like the scope, by the way, of idea 1 I think is quite low. Scope, like how long it takes to implement, I don't know, maybe it's like 1.5 out of 5. Because I already have some pieces in place, I just need to expand on it. And if it's possible to get this to be randomly generated, I think it will be quite easy, or quite low scope at least. Complexity, that's going to be the hard part, to make it like a complex and engaging game for a long time. maybe 3 to 4. I guess 2 to 4 depending on implementation. Like how many abilities can the player have? If it's just melee attack, it's gonna get boring very quickly. Let me just add a note here. The cards can contain movement speed, obviously like strength, agi, int, etc. This one could be defend the plot of land in Sandbox world. Maybe on this game, like the faster you clear, or like with a certain clear score, you get better cards, like faster clear. What else? High health left. No pots used. Gives better rolls in the card from the card pool. This needs to be visible for the player to get a better feeling. Like, hey, you have a boosted chance of getting a better card now due to this. So it's not just like invisible for the player. So depending on plot of land, you start with nothing except few. No, you start with nothing. Mechanics. Craft. Weapons. So there's like crafting and building. Build, defenses, and yeah, it's all gonna be defenses. Rally your troops, and you should be able to recruit nomads around your plot. So here, let's say you're spawning here, and you have your character, and yeah, one thing is that the attacks become harder and harder and have variety. So maybe the first night there's like a one weak person without any weapon that comes and attacks you. And you have to fight. Maybe the second night there are 2 people coming without weapons. By then, hopefully, you have built some kind of defense, like a wall around your little place. But maybe also you gathered like a stick or something that you can attack with and defend. Maybe you found some people outside that you can kind of go and recruit to join you, and you can. I think this is where it's going to become very big scope, though. Like recruit them and then give them tasks. Like how is that going to be implemented? I think that's going to be a big thing. But maybe you just recruit them and then they kind of just hang around. They just drift around doing nothing here. But that would be very bad for immersion, I think. Because you might need food, shelter. Maybe just being alone makes it a bit scarier and more interesting. And you could play co-op as well. So if you have a friend, he can join on your server and you can like defend it together. And then it can be balanced in such a way that eventually they start coming with like shield and sword. And by then, hopefully, you have like a full-fledged wall where you can like shoot arrows or something onto them when they're on the ground below. I don't know. Maybe. It sounds potentially fun. But does it have to be a procedurally generated? I'm not sure. Maybe not. Let's take these actually and add into the document just for memory. This is idea 2. Wait, what? Oh, I can't. Okay, I'll do it later. I can't copy paste it. And like if I just continue with what I'm doing now, I have no idea actually. Like if you look at the generated world thingy, it's just like craft, build, survive. But making that into a fun game with some fun game mechanics, that's gonna be quite a tall task. So what is the scope of this? No, this is probably a 2. It all depends on like how many weapons you can craft and what kind of defenses you can build. Let's give it like a 2.5. Like a complexity of 2 to 4 as well. Let's just write the third down, just for the sake of it. Game concept: survive in a beautiful procedure generated world. Mechanics. Game mechanics. What's wrong with that? Drinking. Eating is needed. No, let's do like basic human needs are required to be met to survive. Like drinking, eating, eat. But then like what's the challenge? Sure, you can make that hard, but once you get the hang of it, it's not gonna be fun anymore. So there needs to be a stream of challenges. And that's kind of why I got into this idea. Where you're getting raided, there are things happening to you. You could even have other types of events. Like, I'm a bit inspired by Rimworld here. You could have some other types of event, like forest fire, storm. It kind of blows down your walls. You have to go and repair them. Those kind of things. And I think what could potentially like tie this whole thing together is like the plot. I have a plot in mind where the reason we're defending is that we have something. Let's say we're on a we woke up on a place, we don't know where we are, but we know that this thing, this item. 1 second. All right. No, but so there's like there is something that you know that it's gonna help you get home, or like that it's gonna get you to your target where you want to be, like to, yeah, let's say to go home from this forest or landscape that you're in. But you don't really know how to read it or how to use it. And then like as you build up your base, as you advance your technology, that's gonna unlock clues, or like that's gonna unlock this thing so that you can finally eventually win the game and go home if you choose to. Something like that. When your tech is advanced enough, you can unlock the key to go. Key to go home. And I think one pretty interesting aspect in the game like that as well would be that, let's say this thing is like in the ground, it's like very heavy, you can't really move it. And you want to go over here to like cut some trees or something. But that means you have to leave this thing that you're protecting. Like, how do you keep it protected? You can't go too far away from the base. Or like if you're two, maybe you want to keep someone defending while you go away. And if you want it to be really immersive, you might not even use voice. You might want to use tools in the game to communicate, like you could shout like in game, but you can't reach very far. Or you could have these like, if you take it really far, like let's say the base is here and there's a hill here. Maybe you can kind of, I don't know, you have someone here, you have someone on some post here, and someone here collecting resources. If we're getting attacked, this guy lights a fire, this guy lights a fire, this guy sees it, they all know that they need to go back to the base. That kind of a thing. That could definitely be an interesting mechanic. Yeah. So much paint. Cool, cool. I think I will start doing making some dinner. We're actually up to 90 subscribers now on YouTube. That's awesome. That's reached today. So thank you for that. And got a new follower today on Twitch. Wicked Virus. Shout out to Wicked Virus for that. And Klaus on yesterday. Really cool. Love to see it. Love to see it. The community is growing. All right, guys. That's all for today. Might come in later, we'll see. If not later tonight, maybe tomorrow, definitely in the weekend. Cool. Thank you so much. May wake out. Bye-bye.